I'm Michaela. I think some of you know that I work in the architectural industry, and so I spend most of my day drawing very orthogonal lines. However, in my free time, I like to be more organic, and I've always been an artist as a kid. I was always drawing. In high school, I would skip bio all the time and make my way to the art room. And then in college, I did a few pieces, and so this one, so I really got into doing portraits. And this is a portrait of my niece I did about 9 years ago when she was 1. It's actually 3 photos of her symposed over each other. And it was a charcoal piece I did about 24 by 36. And my sister's in the background folding clothes. And so that was just like a moment. I was photographing my niece, and yeah, so that was one piece. Again, most of these are portraits. This was one I did my freshman year of college of yours truly, a color pastel. This was a massive piece I did, and it was quite fun. So a fun fact about me is I really love hip-hop music, and it has been a very prevalent thing in most of my 20s. Especially in college, I had a lot of friends that were also into hip-hop, and this was just something that we shared. And that made its way through my artwork. In fact, that previous portrait, I remember I was listening to an album by Drake, and I had it on repeat. And I often, when I'm doing a piece of art, I have one album playing on repeat. And so I can always make that association. But I don't know, I was probably 20 when I did this, and my favorite artists at the time were J. Cole, Chance the Rapper, Drake, and Childish Gambino. And so I did some ink portraits of them and threw some lyrics I really liked behind it. You could continue. And then this was just a really rough sketch of Chance the Rapper. And so when I'm doing ink, I really like this messy, rough sketch. After undergrad, I found myself desperate to go back into an art studio, and I kind of reached a point, and I'm currently in this void right now where sometimes I'm afraid to approach my art, and I think there's a bit of a fear that I'm not going to be as good as I was years previous. And whenever I would go to draw, it was just not coming out how I wanted to. And so I signed up for an acrylic art class. I had not done much acrylic before, and so I had really low expectations. And I went to this class thinking I was going to paint a bowl of fruit the first day, and nope, this is what I ended up doing. So this was J. Cole. J. Cole has been my favorite artist for a long time. He's a rapper that really... The thing actually I love most about hip-hop and rap specifically is this, if you really listen to the lyrics, it's so poetic. And yeah, so this was a piece, this is my first acrylic portrait I did. And I even used tea leaves to get some texture in the dreads and get a little bit experimental. You could continue. And then in that class, I decided I was going to paint Nina Simone next. So that was setting up, and then if you go to the next one, this was Nina. This was my favorite piece I've ever done. But you can go through these ones fast. But again, this was Chance the Rapper. Another thing I loved doing was drawing shoes, and just using shoe as my medium, or the thing I was doing. So this was one of my favorite pair of shoes I've ever had. Sketched that one out. And then in architecture school, you had to do a lot of models, and my first semester I had to do a model of my shoe, well, of anything, and I chose my shoe, and do it about 4 times the size to scale. And so this was a massive shoe I built out of paper and foam board, and I used hot glue for the rubber details of it. But that's a sample of some of my work I've done. So thank you.